Hello, everyone. This is Kay,
And Samantha,
and you are listening to another episode of A
a
Brunch
brunch
Session.
session.
All right, Sam, what's up? How was your week?
Girl, nothing. Just a long week of school. I really can't complain. Like I'm so blessed to be, in this program, but at the same time, it's so overwhelming. Every
Mm.
day there's a test, quiz, assignment, discussion, the whole nine. So that's really honestly been my whole week. What about you, girl?
Honestly, this was a really blessed week. I can't even lie. I spent time with one of my best friends for her birthday. We had a really, really great time. We went to Palm Beach. I had some bomb gelato. I don't know why.
This
I don't
girl
know
already
why
tripping.
things taste better sometimes in richer areas. Like the gelato just tasted rich. Like Palm
You
Beach,
just felt like you had money when you was eating it.
yes. They had a cute little spoon. It was creamy. Like I was like, well dang. Like ain't no ice
Wow.
cream like this in West Palm Beach. So then the girl they had
Please
this
stop sleeping on West Palm Beach like this. Like,
no, listen to
you
me.
gotta segue into some shade. Like,
Listen
that's
to me.
crazy.
No, I'm telling you guys, this gelato hit different. Okay?
Mm.
Sam, it hit different. I'm
I never
telling
had this, so I can't talk about it.
you, girl. And then they had this bottled water.
Oh, she's
I have
tripping.
never, no, wait, you guys. It was so good that I went back to my cousin and the photographer with the gelato. Girl, I said I was going to the bathroom, came back with 3 bottles of water and some gelato. Like,
Wow.
I just found it. So she's
Wow.
talking to me about something. I took a sip. I said, hold on. Like, I don't care what you talk about right now. This water is different. So the water with the gelato, it was everything that day. Then it was hot outside. Girl, it just felt so good. They were sweating. I was good. Had water. So I was like, I was her assistant for the day, and it was good.
Uh-uh.
But something that did happen this week, which definitely ties into our topic for the day, was my old therapist. I'm gonna call her Sally. Sally the therapist. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys the full story later. But this week, I get an email from my old therapist. Mind you, I had her when I graduated from UCF in 2018. Came back home, was going through a very dark time. So, you guys, she emailed me and she asked me to get her a gift card for her niece, who and she would pay me back. No, that's not what you do. So it got me to thinking about mental health, and then on top of that, segue into what happened this week with Tamar Braxton and Kanye West and everything like that. We
Yeah.
just decided to talk about mental health this week because it's so important, and we saw so many comments when the whole Tamar Braxton thing happened, where she was, she tried to commit suicide, and then Kanye West came out and Twitter rallies, it was a lot, and so many people were in the comments on Shade Room with different blogs, and they were just talking crazy. I was like,
Hmm.
people still think like this in 2020?
That's because, let's be real, in the black community, therapy is looked down upon. People do not understand it. They think if you choose to have a therapist, you're acting bougie, you're acting like you don't have any friends. Because let's be real, a lot of people do try to have some form of therapy. It's just not really productive. They either go to Facebook and start posting every little thing that they have going on,
Crying on
or
Instagram.
come on now, crying on Instagram.
No shade. Do not do that.
Please, there's shade, but
Do
I mean,
no. Do not cry on Instagram. Like,
and do not be the type of people on Facebook talking about, oh, Rashad did this stuff this week and
yeah,
that. I'm like, come on, you got friends for that, not
yeah.
social media. But I feel like that's their form of therapy. It's not productive because now you have a lot of people in your business, but
hmm
that's their form. And it's like when it comes down to actually paying somebody, They feel as though, why would I want to pay somebody to talk to them? I got my friends, I got social media, I got this and that. They don't see it as deemed as necessary, which I think we really need to change that stigma.
I really do. There's so many misconceptions out there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many misconceptions. Like, people were saying that with the whole Kanye West thing, you know, this isn't mental health. Why are we calling it this? Like, this man been talking crazy. People think that it's just an excuse for poor behavior,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not always the case. You know, there are people that throw out mental health like draws. Mental health. But then there are some people that are really struggling. Like this week, Kanye was having a whole episode, like a whole manic episode
On social media,
on
in
social
front of
media.
people, crying at his rally. Like, that's not normal.
That's not normal. Like this man talking about his father wanted to abort him. And first of all, like no one should know that one of their parents wanted to abort them.
Yeah.
That's hard for someone to know. And this man broke down crying. Like that's pain. That's not just someone wanting to wild out. Now, yes, what he said was ignorant. But when people are having manic episodes, they're not speaking clearly.
Mm-hmm.
They're not speaking the same way they would speak if they were on their medication. It's just not happening. So when people are so hell bent on throwing shade and throwing hate his way and talking about it's so focused on the comments that he made, people are forgetting that this man is having a whole breakdown, a whole episode. Like he's not supposed to sound okay.
Yeah.
That's not a manic episode. So I just wish people would be more understanding of that, but
People, I think the thing is people's opinion are based off of hate.
Yeah.
Like Kanye is already in this negative light, so when he starts doing crazy things, they're already just, oh, he's retarded. He's all over the place. He hates black people, or you know, he forgets that he's black. He's a narcissist. He's this and that. And it's like, let's be realistic. In this moment, normally do you see things like this? Like this was off the wall what he did. Like this is not normal. This is not a normal Kanye where he goes upstairs and, you know, talk about, oh, well, Beyonce is out. Like those things are outlandish, but this was 10 times worse. Like he's putting out family business, like whatever going on with his children. Like there's a lot of things that he put out there and it's not normal. People need to understand, like there's levels to these situations, and he's like at the top of the list where he does need help, and people need to realize that instead of being upset and thinking so negatively of him. Maybe try to help him out or something.
Yeah, people just, they don't extend grace towards celebrities or people that they deem as, like you said, having a more confrontational personality.
Yeah.
You know, Kanye West, Tamar Braxton, these are two people who have money. And number two, their personalities are not gentle. They're not seen as gentle people.
True.
And sometimes people, when folks are not seen as gentle, they lack empathy. Like people lack empathy toward them.
True.
Because they're not soft. You know, Tamar Braxton is very much rah, rah, rah. You know, at least that's the image that she's put out on TV. So when people see that, the great thing is I saw a lot of people that were extending grace Tamar Braxton's way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, in general, when people speak about mental health that have money or that are seen as celebrities, you don't see that a lot. A lot of people are like, you have money, like, what's the problem? Like, you know, why are you complaining? But what people don't understand, which is another misconception, money doesn't buy you out of mental health.
Yeah.
Money buys you resources. It buys you more access. This person could get a better therapist, but it doesn't mean that they're still not struggling from depression, anxiety, bipolar, schizophrenia. Mental illness does not care if you're a millionaire. It doesn't care.
That's true.
So
true. And that is very true. And I think that even brings up the whole Meg Thee Stallion thing. Like a lot of people really didn't even think to care about her feelings for this whole situation.
Yeah.
Like she's going on social media trying to tell people, you got to understand this was a tragic situation. Like after this, she may have PTSD. People aren't thinking about that like at all.
Sis got shot. Sis got, people who get shot at already are like on edge. Sis has a whole bullet in her foot, in her body. Like she's going to have to look down at that every single day and remember when she got shot. And, you know, no one knows if it was what's his name? The dude that she was with, the
Tory
singer?
Lanez.
Tory Lanez. No one knows if he did it or not. You know, we're not saying that he did do it. The things are pointing at him that he did do it, and he hasn't spoken out. And one thing about Tory Lanez, he's always speaking out. So the fact that he has not said anything does lead a lot of people to believe that he did do it. But, you know, I think that alcohol was definitely at play. But either way, like...
I thought he's in jail.
He might be in jail, but it's
that probably might be why no one said anything, though.
His team hasn't said anything, no one. And it's just the fact that, one, you got shot, but two, you got shot by somebody that you thought was a friend. Yeah. That's the whole level. Like, a stranger shooting you is one thing. But if that's like me shooting you, you're going to be like, what? Like, that's different than like some stranger, like pop. Like, that's different.
No, that's true. And the thing is like, it's a very traumatic event. And I don't think people are realizing that, especially like with 50 making, you know, those weird jokes about it. Drea making those weird jokes about it. It's like, you don't understand how this is really affecting people.
You don't. Like, you don't. You think it's funny. You think people's life is a joke. Like, 50 Cent been shown that he doesn't care about black women. Like, he's been shown that. I wasn't even shocked that he did that. I guess I was just disappointed because I'm like, man, you know, you think this is funny? Like, what don't you think is funny? Mm-hmm. You know, Drea Michelle, you know, I wasn't shocked by Drea. She been giving me them vibes that she likes toxic men. And that's not no shade to her. But when I heard what she said on the podcast, it was something in me that wasn't shocked. I was just... I can't believe she said it out loud.
Wait.
I knew she spelled it. I can't believe she said it.
It's because I think what did she replied to it saying she was making a joke out of it. Like, she was trying to be funny, but she didn't realize that she offended a lot of people. So she apologized. Yeah. But I don't see how that was a joke. That was like so far-fetched. Like, that went over my head.
That was so far-fetched. I was like, sis. But like I said on Twitter, like we said at a brunch session, a lot of women think like that. A lot of women like men that are going to jack them up and be like, sit down, get in the car, be quiet. Like, okay, daddy. First of all, don't you ever in your life put your hands on me. Legit. Don't you ever in your life tell me to sit my ass down. Like, don't ever make me feel like I'm intimidated by you. Like, I have to listen to you. When she said that, like I said, I wasn't shocked. I was just like, that's table talk, Drea. That's table talk, boo.
Wait.
That's table talk.
But in a nutshell, it's just like the fact that people can really go on social media and really make fun of this.
It's crazy. And another misconception, you know, speaking of this, is suicide is not the only cry for help. People think that suicide is like, that's the last cry. And suicide should definitely be taken serious. But I don't want Kanye West to get to the place that Tamar Braxton did, because I feel like a lot of people bullied Tamar Braxton. Like I said, she's not seen as a softer woman. She's very opinionated. And people will always talk bad about Tamar Braxton. Like, it was just always things being said about her. And I'm sure other things were also at play that made her feel like she didn't want to live anymore. But like I said, a lot of people did not extend empathy toward her before this happened. And with Kanye West, I don't want to get to that point where it's like people keep thinking that, oh, you know, this is just him being dramatic, him wanting attention, him promoting for his album. Who knows?
That was, to me, blew my mind when that was the rumor. I'm like, that's a negative light that he's putting himself in. Like, at least he would talk about the album.
I don't want to hear the album. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear the album at all. And I like Kanye West music, but I'm not tuning into that. Like, I don't want to hear him talk about Kim on the record. I was like, I don't want to hear that. But people are thinking that it's just all these excuses. And what happens if this man does try to commit suicide? Because thankfully, God saved Tamar Braxton.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean God gonna save Kanye if he tries to really, really go far with this, you know, and commit suicide. And right now he's crying out for help. And I feel like with Tamar Braxton, a lot of the things that she also did was kind of a cry for help.
Yeah.
People just overlooked it because she's so dramatic. Like, oh my gosh, you know, everybody just kind of looked at her as just this character on the show, dramatic girl, calling her name, talking about her looks, and all kind of stuff. So now that it got to this extreme, I don't want it to happen for Kanye or anybody else. Anyone else.
And that's the thing. I feel like I don't think people realize that not only it's not the only cry for help, but that's literally their last resort.
Yeah.
Like they're at a point
the other cries were not working.
Exactly. That's their last resort. Like I might as well just not be here. That's the point that they get to. You know how terrifying that? Like just to think their mentality, I do not want to breathe or live anymore. So I'm going to figure out some way to stop it. Yeah. Like that's last resort. And the fact that people have to get to that point to be heard or just not to be here anymore, that blows my mind. Literally.
It's really sad, I know I've had, this is, a very sensitive topic, but I know I've had my struggles with mental health, and I know I had thoughts of wanting to commit suicide myself, and it's a dark place to be in. It's really dark, and so many people, they don't understand that. Because when you want to commit suicide, there is no going back from that. Like, you're at your last resort, and I wish that people would take more cries for help seriously. Yeah. And I wish that people would just be more empathetic toward people and not be so quick to just say whatever it is that you want to say. Like, everybody have feelings. People feel pain. People go through things. It doesn't matter. What you're going through is what you're going through, but don't knock what someone else is going through as well. Mental health is very serious. It's extremely, extremely serious. And it's so important to take it serious. To stop for a second, ask yourself, like, is this person, like, what's going on? Like, don't be quick to just call them dramatic or call them crazy. But seriously sit back and be like, something might not be right here. Like, ask them, are you okay? Like, you need someone to talk to? Just things that you could do.
No, that's very true. And find other ways to be able to help them out. Like small things, literally small things, where if you have a friend that constantly calls you trying to speak about their issues, talk to them. Yeah. Take the time to listen to their calls, because it's like you don't know that small gesture, how that could have changed their day, because maybe they had no one to speak to and they're feeling so overwhelmed. Yeah. So it's small little things. Like I think that we just really need to be more cognizant and very considerate of other people's feelings.
Yeah. We do. And stop cyberbullying.
And in a nutshell, I mean, I guess we can also kind of talk about it, but I think the thing is people really need to find a place of comfort. Yeah. Because I've noticed a lot of people choose social media as their place of comfort, but social media, regardless if we don't like it or not, full of cyberbullies, full of people who are very unsupportive. And if you choose your happiness and your self-love pertaining to who likes your pictures and who comments positive things, your self-worth is based on how they feel. Yeah. And at the end of the day, if that's how you move, and if that's your happiness, you're going to be in a position where you're going to be up and down depending on who likes you and who doesn't. So you need to find some place, some comfort. Your happiness shouldn't be pertaining to social media at all, because cyberbullying is not going to end. Even if we wanted to, it's not. So don't let that be your comfort zone.
It shouldn't be. And I think that a lot of people don't take time to self-reflect. You really have to check yourself. As hard as that is, because we never like to see the bad in ourselves, a lot of the times we have a hard time with checking ourselves, having that self-reflection, having that alone time. But you really have to assess your own feelings. Before you can make sure anybody else is good, you have to be good. Yeah. And a lot of people are so busy going throughout life, which is why I think COVID also happened. COVID is a blessing in the disguise. It has obviously stopped a lot of opportunities for people, but it's given a lot of opportunities as well to sit back and just rest. People do not like to rest. We're in this go, 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 go mentality in this society that makes you feel like if you're not on go, if you're not getting the bag, if you're not, chasing your purpose, then what are you doing? It's like you can still chase your purpose. You can still make your money. You can still do everything that you want to do, but find time to rest. Find time to check on yourself. Ask yourself, am I good?
Yeah.
You can still do all of those things. You don't have to be wrapped up in what society tells you should be doing.
Yeah.
Like, don't get wrapped up in that. Don't be of this world. Like, don't.
And another thing is like, if we're thinking for like celebrities, I feel like Tamar and Kanye are getting a bad rep because it's like I feel like society doesn't understand how can you have a mental disorder or have issues with life if you have money. But at the end of the day, you have to understand these people have to keep the money. They have to continue making money. They have to continue this lifestyle. You don't know what stresses that they have to deal with to continue that. Like, I remember people were saying for Tamar, there were issues with her show. She wasn't getting paid enough. Then it's like, she left the reel and all these other things happened. That's messing her bag. That's messing her livelihood. That's messing the lifestyle she had. You don't understand how stressful that is to keep a lifestyle. Kanye may have millions or however much money he has, but at the end of the day, he has to maintain that. Not only maintain that, but in his mentality, he wants power now, which is why I feel like he wants to do the presidential, election. But that's just my assumption. But at the end of the day, it's like, you don't understand the stresses that they have to deal with to keep this life going for themselves.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
You're balancing managers, you're balancing accountants, you're balancing your money, you're balancing your career, you're balancing criticisms, social media. People want to make all kind of comments. Then you got personal stuff getting out there because people don't know how to mind their business, and we're in this celebrity obsessed culture. So now you have to deal with that. Then you have to deal with like family. You have to deal with people coming into your life. You got to wonder, do you want to be here because you truly care about me, or do you want to be here because you want to be in the spotlight? Bro, that's all of those things that people have to worry about.
Exactly.
Yes, people who are poor, people who don't have it, we have our own struggles. But it's different. Sometimes people like to use the word better, more, less. It's just different. You have to deal with paying your bills. They have to deal with managing money. You know how many celebrities have come out saying that they got like their money stolen from them? Like accountants, people who they thought were friends that cared about their career, like they found out it's been thousands and thousands of dollars that has been stolen from them. Like, you don't think just because they're a millionaire that don't matter? Like, oh, 30 grand being stolen from me is nothing. That's 30 grand.
Exactly.
But and the point is, it's not about the money. It's the fact that you stole from me. Now I have to find somebody else and look at them 10 times more critical. So it's just like, it's different. You having to worry about getting to work every day. They got to worry about being at work and dealing with social media, people talking mess, radios or movie critics. Like, it's different things that they're worried about than what we're worried about. But it's still worries. It's still stress.
Exactly.
If that's the case, then there would not be so many celebrities that have tried to commit suicide or that have committed suicide, like Kate Spade. Millionaire.
What?
Kate Spade committed suicide.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like Kate Spade is extremely popular. Like, you would think that sis was good. Like, I love Kate Spade agendas. What?
Wait.
Like, what? This lady committed suicide.
Was she young?
Kate Spade, she was like a bit older. She wasn't like old.
Oh.
I'm gonna say maybe like 40s.
What?
No, she wasn't old. She wasn't old. She wasn't like 80 years old.
I did not.
This lady is in the prime of her career. Kate Spade is still extremely popular. And she said they committed suicide.
Wow.
If money made you so happy, there would be no Kate Spades. There would be no Tamar Braxtons. So obviously something is going on. So try not to be so, I guess, envious that you start to lack empathy, because that's a bad place to be at.
Honestly. And another thing is, have common sense. Kanye is a grown man. Like, let's be honest, a grown man. And I see a lot of people are talking about how they feel as though Kim and the rest of the family should have, put him in a mental,
Yeah.
institution and things of that nature. But it's like he has to be willing to do that, or it has to be a point where he's harming others or himself.
Yeah.
There's levels to it, unfortunately. He's talking a lot of craziness that shows that he's calling for attention, but at the end of the day, to put him away, there's levels to it, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
people need to stop negatively speaking about the Kardashian family, because there's not much that they can do. Like, sadly, there isn't. He is a grown man. He's not a kid. That, if he doesn't choose to take the medication, what are they supposed to do? They can't
Yeah.
force it down his throat.
People don't understand that with Baker acting and having someone committed, unless Kanye says, I'm going to kill you, kill myself, kill my children, kill somebody, he cannot be committed because he has not positioned himself as a danger to himself or to society.
Yeah.
So him pissing off the Black community, him being on Twitter ranting, that is not enough for a doctor to say, I'm going to commit this man. That is just him making ignorant comments and folks being upset. That is not enough to have Son Baker acted. But like I said earlier, empathy. People don't like the Kardashians. A lot of people don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have someone who already has a negative image to people, they're not going to show much empathy toward them. Like, people were so quick to call out the Kardashians. And first of all, the Kardashians and Kim they're not all grouped together. Like, people kept grouping the Kardashian family. Since when the hell does a sister-in-law have the right to go into somebody's house? Like, Khloe can't go over there and be like, Kanye, calm down. That's not her husband.
Yeah.
That's Kim and Kanye. Like, that's not Kim, Kanye, Khloe, Courtney, Kylie. Like, that's not all of them. That is Kim and her husband and her family. Like I said, like, she gets no empathy because of how people perceive her. If this was another woman, if this was like Tiny, like T.I. was doing this and Tiny was in this situation, because so many people love Tiny, she would be getting way more empathy.
Yeah.
People would be like, oh my gosh, are you okay, girl? You got folks on Shade Room making 20 videos, talking mess. I'm like,
about nothing. About nothing.
Like that culture vulture. They're this, they're that. This is nothing. Like, honey, I know how you
like
feel.
I said, it just gives them another bullet, like another form of ammo.
Stealing from Black women has nothing to do with Kanye ranting. Both are bad. Separate. Like, separate.
All the way separate. But
so, moving on though from misconceptions, hopefully that enlightens some people. Bottom line, check on yourself and check your empathy too.
Yeah.
How to find a therapist. This one is really important because people need to go to therapy. It's not for crazy people. I've been in therapy twice. The first time was great. The second time, I need therapy from that therapy experience. But the point is that she did teach me some things, and that's just my experience. That's not every experience. Like, don't be scared off from therapy.
Yeah,
good and bad, just like everything else. But my one tip is, when I was looking for a therapist, I checked my insurance plan. Some insurance companies do give you a certain amount of appointments that are for free. Basically, that is a grace period for you to choose a therapist. So, you have to try a therapist the way you have to try out shoes. True. Like, what works with you, what doesn't work for you. The first therapist might not be great. In most insurance companies, you'll call them and tell them, like, I went to see a therapist. I don't like this one. I'm going to another one. And most will give you that appointment back if you don't choose that therapist. Once you choose a therapist, you have to call them again, or however your company does it, and let them know, okay, I'm sticking with this one. And then you can have your free appointments. And after those are up, then you start to pay your fee. But that's one way. Also, Open Path Collectives, where you can find lower fee therapists, and goodtherapy.org is another one too. And I think Samantha has another one as well.
There's this one called Better Health. So in a nutshell, it literally helps you pinpoint the best therapist for you. They talk about, what type of religion that you are, what type of race you prefer. They also do involve talking about your insurance. If you don't have insurance, they do have discount plans with from what I saw with certain podcasts, they have a list of podcasts that if you may listen to them, they'll give you a discount. But in a nutshell, it's a platform that literally helps you pinpoint a specific therapist. And especially because of COVID, they allow you to have different forms of communication, not only face to face, but through text message, through emails, through webcam, I believe, and also through regular phone calls. So that's another form for
That's
you guys.
too. Because like I said, finding a therapist is it can be time consuming. Do not give up after a few appointments.
Yeah.
You really do, like, finding a therapist is very important because you're building a trusting relationship. And I definitely want to go over some red flags and just tell my story about therapy, just as a warning to other people, because so many people that go to therapy, they really don't understand what should be happening, what should not be happening. So, like I said, 2018, I make it short. 2018, I went to therapy, started it. Might have been like 2019 as well. And like I said, Sally, the therapist. At first, when I got to her, I wanted a Black therapist. That was my thing. I really wanted a female Black therapist, but I couldn't find one. So when I talked to Sally, it did click. It did feel right. Even though she wasn't Black, I was like, you know what? Maybe I should try her out. And my first appointment, she was I think she was late and it was a bit messy, but I was like, you know what? She human. Like, I'm not going to think of her as perfect. So I still decided to keep seeing her. And things were okay, but red flag number one, she exposed a lot of her personal life. A therapist should not expose their personal life to you. It is not professional for you to know your therapist, how many kids they have and all that, their kids' business, their marriage issues. Like, I knew a lot about her that I should not have known. It is not healthy for you to start knowing as much about your therapist as they could potentially know about you. That session is for you to speak. She kept using details about my life to go on rants about situations that she was going through or had went through. And it made me feel empathy for her to the point where I did not feel comfortable, but because I felt so bad for her, I didn't want to stop seeing her. But I knew that it wasn't going in the right direction. But I was like, I feel really bad for this lady. Red flag. You should not feel bad for your therapist like that. Like, to the point where I remember crying about her life one time. Like, I was on the phone with one of my friends, like, she's going through so much. Y'all, that is not okay. You should not be crying over your therapist's business. Like, she was going through a lot. And it was to the point where I just couldn't deal with it. Like, I felt like I was talking to a friend that was going through things. Tip, your therapist is not your friend. Like, this lady literally told me that if I was not her patient, she could be my friend. No, I cannot. Like, I am not.
She a grown woman. She ain't.
First of all,
she ain't in her prime now.
My age. Come on. That's number one. And number two, your therapist should never make you feel like y'all are friends. Your therapist is not your friend. That is a professional relationship. You guys are building trust with each other. It is not a friendship. So please not go into therapy looking for a home girl. Like, no. So it got to the point where, like I said, like, it just became too much. So when I went off to school, I was still talking to her on the phone because she really wanted to keep me as a client because she enjoyed speaking to me. That's not okay. Like, I'm not your friend.
Exactly.
So I finally got to the point where I was like, you know what? I had to cut her off. It felt like I was breaking up with someone. Like, I literally was having a hard time, like, emailing her back, like, just talking to her. Like, the weekly appointments, I was not looking forward to them. I would have, like, literally, I would get so anxious. Like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be here. So I have to cut her off. It took forever for her to, like, get the hint. She kept on trying. I was like, I really just want to focus on other things right now. And I kept using the excuse, I cannot afford it, which I really couldn't, but I was happy that I was broke. That was the one time in my life where I was like, thank you, Jesus, I ain't got no money because I can't afford you, lady. So I still paid her, but that whole experience, like, was just a lot. And I didn't realize how bad it was until my first semester. I took a class where a professor was speaking about therapeutic relationships and professionalism and ethics, and everything my professor said your therapist should not do, my therapist was doing. And I was checking off boxes. As the class kept going on, I was like, box number 1, box number 2, box number 3. Her ass crazy. Her ass crazy. Like, purely unethical. Like, I told my professor about it. Her face was like, oh my gosh. Have you been going through this? I'm like, yeah. She was like, you're in a horrible relationship. Get out.
That's true.
So that's definitely a tip for people. Like, just when you're in therapy, please just make sure that you are 100% comfortable. If there any time where you feel like, I don't feel comfortable here anymore, like I don't feel like I can trust you anymore, get out. There are tons of other therapists out there. Just be careful when you look for therapists. Take your time. Like, it's not a one quick thing. You do have to try them out.
Yeah.
But you'll find someone. You will definitely find someone. And also, like, some therapists do offer sliding scale. So if you cannot afford a therapist, one thing to check for when you are looking for therapists is ask the question, do you accept my insurance? But also, do you do sliding scale? Most therapists do. Some don't.
What does that mean, sliding scale?
So sliding scale is basically going off of your income.
Oh, okay.
A lot of therapists will do that. And it's really helpful. It's really, really helpful because some people can't afford to pay $80 an hour.
Yeah.
You know, so a therapist might say, okay, well, based on your income, I'll charge you 30, 40, however their sliding scale works. So definitely ask that question, and don't think all therapists are expensive because some really do try to help you out.
True.
So.
True. And the last thing we want to talk about is, like, if you don't have any funds, things that you can do to either keep you motivated, keep you on track, kind of work with your mental health a little bit.
Yeah. So I'm definitely going to be putting these in the description because it is a lot that I did find. I don't want to take up all your time, but I found a lot of great Instagram pages that do virtual events right now. Put those in the description. Call your local mental health association. They can also link you to different services, different therapists, or like support groups, because support groups are normally a lot cheaper and some are even free. So you can also look through, your community for support groups as well with what you're going through. Self-help books. I know a lot of people say that they help. Peer support, like we said, find friends, find people who you love and who love you. Exercise, that's a big one. Find hobbies. I know right now with COVID, I like to journal and read. Sam, what about you?
I mean, for me, it's one thing I could talk about that really has helped me in these times is this motivation app that I have. It's literally called Motivation. And literally every single day, as many times in the day that you want, I think mine is up to like 10 times a day. They send you messages of encouragement, whatever you're going through. For me, I have it on anything. So it's motivation, positivity, self-love, all that stuff. But you can kind of cater it to how you're feeling. And it's literally a pick me up every time I look at my phone.
What's the name of it?
It's called Motivation.
Easy.
Simple.
I like that. I hate apps that be like,
relaxation at its finest. I don't got time for it.
What is this? Like, okay. You have ecotherapy. Ecotherapy is incorporating nature into your daily life. That means going walking. I know some people can go hiking.
Oh yeah.
I'm not a hiker, but shoot, you might be. Like I said, support groups. You have also, like Sam said, mental health apps. There were a lot that I found linking those as well. Listen to podcasts. I found some great ones I'll be linking.
Oh yeah, podcasts are amazing because it's like you want to be productive and not, because when you watch a show, you're just stuck watching the show. You got to see everything. But when you're listening to a podcast, you can kind of multitask, listen to it in the background and, do whatever it is that you're doing. Write your papers, clean, work out. Like it's really, especially if you find a really good, interesting podcast.
Oh, man. Yeah. there are some great podcasts. Like some that I do recommend is the Happiness Lab. My professor put me onto that one. That one actually has a doctor that does it. A lot of podcasts are not just done by your everyday people. A lot of doctors, a lot of professionals do podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Therapy for Black Girls is a great one. She's really, really good. I really do like her. So that's two that I like. And we spoke about social media earlier. Take social media breaks.
Yeah.
Like give yourself some me time. You don't have to be always involved in the world and what's going on, especially during these times when
Mm-hmm.
Black people were being killed right now and everything that's going on. I had to take a. Me and Sam both were like, bro, we gotta take a break.
Yeah.
And sometimes I like to just take that time to just be like, I don't have to always be plugged in. Whatever
Mm-hmm.
I'm missing is if it's that important, I will hear about it.
Eventually.
Eventually, you're gonna hear about it. Like if it's seriously that important. But most of the time, it's really not, and people are just so hooked. Put down your phone, close your laptop. I know my Angelo, my sis, she had a great strategy. She said that once a week she would just cut off everything. Like she would completely unplug herself. And before then, she would let people closest to her or colleagues, whatever, anyone that needed her, she would let them know I would not be available on this day. And everyone knew. Call me later. To me, I really did love that. And I really do want to incorporate that. Also, the last one, prayer, okay? Reading the word or watching sermons. Those
All
help
that.
me a lot. Like prayer, reading my word, and watching sermons. Pastor Sarah Jakes, Roberts, sis hit different. Pastor Todd,
Mm-hmm.
serving. I love him a lot. So, like I said, I'm gonna link a lot of not link. I'm gonna put it all in the description, the apps, the podcasts that I found, and
Yeah.
the Instagram pages, y'all. So please read that. All right.
All right, y'all. So we are at the end of our podcast.
I do have a question though.
What?
Someone ask
Oh,
questions.
snap. Okay,
I
cool,
know.
cool,
I
cool.
remember to send those questions in, guys. Instagram ZMs. Okay. I asked, did anyone have a questions regarding mental health? And someone actually did. I was like, okay, I'm gonna answer it. Okay, so I'm gonna make it really quick. I know this is a long episode. Basically, she
Yeah.
wants to know, she really wants to start. Hello, I really want to start going to therapy. However, I grew up in a household that said house business remains house business. I don't want to betray my family. How can I get past that?
Let's just kind of use common sense. Therapy is not you talking to your girlfriends down the street. It's not talking to Becky who got the big mouth. Therapy is literally confidential. You're
Yeah,
paying you're paying somebody for their confidential conversation. So you got to really think logically with that. Getting a therapist is real easy. You don't have to worry about them going back to so and so letting them know. Like that's private, literally a private conversation.
yeah, and you're
So
not
don't even
betraying
think
your
about
family.
that.
You're
Yeah.
not betraying anybody when you go. Like you're not, and who knows? You might start something within your family.
Yeah.
You might be that person that breaks that generational curse of staying quiet. You know, your mother might see you going, your father, whoever, and if you don't feel comfortable let them know that you're going to therapy, that's okay. If you get to that point where you feel like, you know what, I want to tell my family because I want them to see if they can get some help too, then talk to them about it. Sit them down and just have a conversation and be like, look, this has been helping me. I think that we can, benefit from it, or you can benefit from it. Just
Uh-huh.
you're not betraying them. And like I said, you might be starting something within your family, and who knows, they might be like, thank you, because we are a different generation than them. Our
Yeah.
parents did not have therapy like that. So they have a different mindset than we have. But if you just open them up to how things have changed now, you might be really surprised what you can really do within your own household.
That's true.
All
Very,
right.
very true.
So,
We are at the end of the
yeah, now we're
podcast.
in.
Ooh, I'm funny. So you guys can look us up on social media. We have our Instagram, a brunch session. We have all our outlets and links in our description in the bio. You can also message us or ask for advice in our email or our Twitter. It's a brunch session. What is it? A brunch session at gmail.com. And gotta delete that out, boy. A brunch session at a gmail.com. And our Twitter is at a brunch session. And then you can also follow us on our personal social media. Mine is by Sam DC.
Mine is at Canethia.
All right, y'all. So now we are going to do our ending prayer.
Yes.
All right. Lord, thank you for this day. Help everyone that's sick to get better. Thank you for having us here, alive, happy, and healthy. Lord Jesus, we want you to please watch out for our friends and our family and our loved ones and people of this world who do have mental issues, who do have situations that they can't come past. And Lord, let them come to you before they handle things on their own. Father, please take away our sins and continue protecting us. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.